I think it's important that you know who you are voting for, especially in New York City. As you all know, I am for Zohra Mamdani to be the next mayor of New York City. And you're probably like, okay, so what about the comptroller, the one who's going to handle the finances? Well, here is the Democratic nominee to be the next comptroller of New York City. There's just one pretty big fucking issue that they're suspecting to become the next comptroller. He is a Zionist, full on Zionist, and he's pro Israel. And he just recently did an interview with Times of Israel. And I think it's important that New Yorkers understand what he plans to do regarding money being sent to Israel. This is Mark Levine. He is from Chicago. He's been on the city council. He's a Democrat and he's a hardcore Zionist. He did a interview with Times of Israel a couple of days ago, and I think it's important because Brad Lander is the one that broke ties with sending Israel money of New York's extensive budget. And this man, Mark Levine, says that if he is elected as the next New York City comptroller, he will go back and actually give Israel more money again. That's a really big fucking issue. So I think it's important we know what he has to say about that. I remember after Putin invaded Ukraine, there were hostile acts directed to Russian cultural sites in New York. And I made a big show one night of going to eat at a Russian restaurant to say that we can separate out our love for Russian culture and cuisine and language and Russian people in New York from our objections to the actions of the Russian government. We're living through the same challenge right now with Israeli and Jewish culture. It's critical that people are able to separate objections to the Israeli government, which I myself have, and the willingness to still embrace so much of what's beautiful about Israeli culture and the Hebrew language and Jewish people. But sadly, there are people who are failing to make that distinction. Zionism is not the same as Judaism, okay? Judaism is a religion. Zionism is an ideology, okay? Israel is an ethno-terrorist state. Israel is doing a fucking genocide, okay? Very different situations. And people who are anti-Israel are not anti-Jews. And I think that what Israel is doing is actually causing more anti-Semitism by saying, if you're anti-Israel, you're actually being anti-Semitic. That's not fucking true. And it seems like this asshole is saying the same thing. City's current comptroller, Brad Lander, did not reinvest in Israel's bonds in 2023 and has said that past comptrollers invested in Israel bonds for political reasons rather than fiduciary reasons. Do you review that as a political decision? Israel bonds have never missed a payment in 80 years. They pay excellent interest. They are a very sound investment, and a good diversified portfolio should allocate a component to Israel bonds. It's what every comptroller going back to Abe Biame has done in New York City in the 70s, what almost every pension fund in America does even today. It is a sound financial move. Israel has always been an ethno-apartheid terrorist state. The difference is that people actually know the truth about Israel, and they're fucking done, and they're tired of money, of the hard taxpayer dollars being spent to killing innocent people just because they're Palestinian. People are tired of the United States and Democrats specifically fucking being completely okay with giving all of this money to Israel while Israel has free college, free healthcare, good fucking housing, while there are homeless people out on the streets in New York City. The rent is astronomical, and on top of that, we don't have free fucking healthcare. So this is so frustrating for people in New York City as well as throughout the country that are tired of Israel getting all of our funds when we don't even get anything in response. That's a selfish way of thinking about it, but a lot of people who don't care Palestinians also understand that Israel has been taking advantage of the United States for so long, and they're fucking sick of it. There are two types of ways of spinning it. Either way, though, the United States should not be giving any funds to Israel. While Mamdani has said he wants to permanently end the city's investment in Israel bonds, he has stopped short of calling for a complete divestment from Israeli businesses. But some constituents worry that remains a possibility if he becomes mayor. How plausible is it that a mayor could divest from Israeli companies entirely, and could a comptroller get in the way of that? There's been a lot of discussion about Israel bonds, but we have approximately 300 million of other forms of investments in Israel equity, real estate, etc. It's actually much more significant on an investment than Israel bonds were even at their peak. Real question then needs to be, why the fuck is the United States, specifically New York City, spending $300 million investing in Israel and their real estate? That is a red fucking flag. Why is it that Israel is getting $300 million from a fucking city, and yet the city refuses to do free bus care, universal child care, refuses to do any changes to the rent, refuses to work with landlords to not increase rent and to actually stabilize the rent? Like, what are we fucking doing? What this guy is saying is he's saying that because Zohran Mamdani can say all he wants, but he's the one in actual control, and he's not going to allow Mamdani to fully divest from Israel. That's what he's saying. I want to make something very clear. This is not a Republican saying this. This is a Democrat saying this. The obsession that Democrats have regarding Israel is an extreme concern, and something the Democratic Party refuses to understand is going to cost them elections over and over and over again. I would rather have a fucking dog as comptroller than someone who is a Zionist. And I know I'm not the only fucking one, because the United States needs to invest in their own people. The United States needs to make America better. You constantly hear Trump saying, "Make America great again." And yet, what is he doing instead? He's ruining the fucking country. He's driving it to the fucking ground. He literally is making the dollar every single day less and less important. That's a big fucking deal. What's even more infuriating is Democrats fail to understand that if you fully separate yourself from Israel, you will win more independent voters. You will win more people that stayed fucking home during the election season regarding Kamala Harris. But because they are such Zionist freaks and they are so invested in their donors and AIPAC giving them money, they refuse to acknowledge and they refuse to see the truth. It's so infuriating, because you would think that Palestinian lives matter more than any of this. And they should, because Palestinian lives matter. But because we are run by two Zionist parties and people fail to see that, we have to find different ways of counteracting that by saying not just about the genocide, but about how your taxpayer funds are literally going straight to Israel and to how people there have healthcare and we fucking don't. It's fucking disgusting. But it's important that you know this. And it's important, if you live in New York City, you know that Mark Levine, who is running to be the next comptroller, is going to give $300 million to Israel. Guess how much money that could have go to giving schools free lunch, free breakfast? Guess how much of that money could go to fixing up the fucking potholes all throughout New York City? These are the things you have to think about. And what this fucker is saying is he doesn't give a shit, because it's Israel first for them. Remember that.